The Starlit Talisman. Zara's breath misted in the chill night air as she crept through the shadowy forest. Moonlight filtered through bare branches, casting eerie patterns on the frost-covered ground. She clutched the worn leather book to her chest, its pages crackling softly with each careful step. She had pored over the ancient tome for weeks, deciphering its cryptic symbols and archaic language. Now, she was ready to attempt the ritual on the eve of the winter solstice. Reaching a small clearing, Zara paused. This was the place, she could feel it. The veil between worlds was thinnest here, where ley lines converged beneath her feet. With trembling hands, she laid out her supplies: candles, herbs, a silver bowl of water, and the crucial circular talisman etched with intricate Arabic calligraphy. Her goal was clear: summon the legendary Al-Qidr, the keeper of hidden knowledge, and seek his help finding her missing brother. As she arranged everything precisely according to the book's instructions, doubts gnawed at her. What if she needed to translate something correctly? What if nothing happened? Or worse, what if something did? Zara pushed the fears aside. She had to try. For her missing brother Amir, the one who had always been there for her, who had shared her joys and sorrows, she would brave any danger. Taking a deep breath, she began to chant the incantation. The words felt strange on her tongue, but she carefully enunciated each syllable. As her voice grew more robust, the talisman began to glow with a soft golden light. Excitement quickened her pulse. It was working. Suddenly, a gust of icy wind extinguished the candles. Zara yelped in surprise as leaves swirled around her. The talisman's glow intensified, becoming almost painfully bright. Then, as abruptly as it began, everything went still. Zara blinked, trying to clear the afterimage from her vision. When her eyes adjusted, she gasped. The forest was gone. In its place was an endless expanse of stars, stretching in every direction. Beneath her feet, what looked like water reflected the cosmos in mirror-like perfection. Each step sent ripples across the glassy surface, distorting the stellar reflections. "Hello," Zara called out tentatively. Her voice echoed strangely, as if the stars themselves were whispering back. A flicker of movement caught her eye. She turned to see a figure approaching, an older man with a long white beard dressed in ornate robes. He smiled warmly at her. "Welcome, Seeker," he said. "I am Al-Qidr, keeper of hidden knowledge. Why have you summoned me?" Zara's mind reeled. Al-Qidr, the legendary immortal guide from Islamic tradition. This couldn't be real. And yet. She swallowed hard. I'm looking for my brother Emir. He disappeared 3 months ago. Can you please help me find him?" Al-Qidr's warning was grave, his words carrying the weight of the journey ahead. "The path you seek is perilous, young one. Are you certain you wish to pursue it?" he asked, his eyes searching Zara's for any sign of hesitation. "Yes," Zara said firmly. "I'd do anything to bring him home." The sage nodded. "Very well. But remember, knowledge comes at a price. Are you willing to pay it?" Before Zara could respond, the starry landscape began to shift. Colors swirled around them, coalescing into a new scene. They stood on a windswept mountaintop overlooking a vast desert. In the distance, an immense sandstorm raged. "Your brother's spirit is trapped within that maelstrom," Al-Qidr explained. "To free him, you must brave the winds of time and fate. But beware, stray from the path and you may lose yourself." With a gesture, he summoned an ornate compass. Its needle spun wildly, before settling in a direction. "This will guide you truly," he said, placing it in her hand. "Trust in it and yourself. The rest is up to you." Zara stared at the roiling sandstorm, her heart pounding. This was madness. And yet, she had come too far to turn back now. Taking a deep breath, she stepped forward. The howling wind tore at her clothes as stinging sand pelted her skin. She squinted, barely able to see. The compass tugged insistently, pulling her onward. As she pressed deeper into the storm, visions flashed before her eyes. She saw Amir as a child, laughing as they played in their backyard. She saw him as a sullen teenager, withdrawing into himself. She relived their last argument, her angry words echoing in her ears. Guilt and grief threatened to overwhelm her. The compass wavered, its needle spinning erratically. "No," Zara cried out. "I won't lose you again." Gritting her teeth, she pushed forward. Slowly, the needle steadied. The visions faded, replaced by a soft golden glow. There, in the eye of the storm, she saw him. Amir floated motionless, suspended in a cocoon of shimmering light. His eyes were closed, his expression peaceful. As Zara approached, his eyelids fluttered. "Amir," she called out. "Wake up. It's me, it's Zara." His eyes opened slowly, confusion giving way to recognition. He reached out a hand towards her. The moment their fingers touched, the storm imploded. Sand and wind rushed inward, compressing into a single point of blinding light. Zara felt herself falling, tumbling through darkness. She landed with a thud on damp grass, gasping for breath. Disoriented, she looked around wildly. She was back in the forest clearing. Dawn light filtered through the trees, birds chirping to greet the new day. And there, sprawled beside her, was Amir. The relief and joy that flooded Zara's heart was overwhelming. He was back, safe and sound. "Zara," he mumbled groggily. Where are we? What happened?" Laughing and crying at once, she flung her arms around him. Her heart was filled with a mix of relief, joy, and disbelief. "You're back," she sobbed. "You're back." Amir, too, was overwhelmed with emotions. He was disoriented and confused, but the warmth of his sister's embrace reassured him that he was safe. As the siblings embraced, neither noticed the talisman. Its golden glow faded, leaving behind an ordinary-looking metal disc, with a tiny addition. Etched into its surface was a new symbol, two interlocking circles bound eternally together. In the following months, Zara often wondered if it had all been a dream. Amir remembered nothing of his time away, and doctors were baffled by his sudden reappearance. But when the stars shone bright, Zara would take out the talisman late at night. She traced its intricate patterns and thought of Al-Kid's words, "Knowledge comes at a price." What price had she paid? What hidden truths now lurked in the depths of her soul? She didn't know. But as she watched Amir laugh with friends, pursue his passions, and slowly heal, she knew it had been worth it. One evening, as they sat on the porch watching the sunset, Amir turned to her thoughtfully. "You know," he said slowly, "I can't remember anything about where I was. But I do remember one thing, your voice calling me home. It was like a beacon in the darkness." Zara's breath caught in her throat. "Really?" He nodded. "I don't know how to explain it, but I think you saved me, sis." She smiled, blinking back tears. "That's what family does," she said softly. "We save each other." As night fell and the first stars appeared, Zara felt a familiar tug. Somewhere beyond the veil, ancient powers stirred, and mysteries waited to be unraveled. Her fingers brushed the talisman in her pocket. Perhaps someday she would answer that call again. But for now, she was content to simply be here, gazing up at the infinite sky with her brother by her side. At that moment she understood a profound truth, that the most incredible magic was not found in cosmic realms or mystical rituals, but in the simple, unbreakable bonds of love and family. And that was a power no storm could ever tear asunder. Years passed, and Zara became a respected scholar of ancient languages and mysticism. Her translations of obscure texts gained renown in academic circles. But she never spoke of her supernatural encounter. One day, a young woman came to her office, desperate in her eyes. "Professor," she said, "I know this sounds crazy, but my sister is missing. The police have given up, but she's out there somewhere. I've tried everything. You're my last hope." Zara studied the girl for a long moment. Then, moving to a locked cabinet, she retrieved a small wooden box. Inside lay the talisman, its engravings as crisp as the day she had returned. "Tell me," Zara said softly, "how far are you willing to go to bring her home?" The girl's eyes widened as she gazed at the gleaming disk. "Anything," she whispered. "I'd do anything." Zara nodded, a small smile playing on her lips. "Then let's begin." As she explained, the talisman pulsed with a familiar golden light. On the wall, their shadows shifted, taking on the form of two robed figures, master and apprentice, about to embark on a new journey into the unknown. Zara knew that some quests were meant to be passed on, some torches carried forward by new hands. And in teaching this girl and sharing the hard-won wisdom of her ordeal, she would honor both Alkid's gift and the enduring power of siblinghood. The talisman grew warm in her hands, resonating with the threads of destiny as they began to weave a new tale. And somewhere beyond the veil, the stars themselves leaned in to listen.